This is the Galaxy Note 8. It's Samsung's latest smartphone, and it's its highest end smartphone right now, beating out the Galaxy S8 and the S8 Plus that launched earlier this year. Of course, it carries a little bit of caution for a lot of people who might want to purchase it, considering this version of last year's phone is the one that had so many issues. The same 8-point battery safety test has been run on this phone. So let's take a look at some of the features and see how the Galaxy Note 8 fares against the current competition. So the Galaxy Note 8 has that pretty similar design to the Galaxy S8 Plus. It's a little boxier, but it carries the same infinity edge display that you can see here, where the edges are very small. But of course this one is 6.3 inches, whereas the S8 Plus is 6.2 inches. It doesn't sound like much of a difference, but this phone is big, and I have big hands, so this is a big phone. Over on here is the power button. On this side we have the Bixby button and the volume rocker. There's a USB-C port next to a speaker grill. And over on the back we have a glass back with a fingerprint sensor at the top and dual cameras. I'm not a fan of this fingerprint placement right here. It's the same as the S8 Plus, but it's really awkward to reach, especially on such a big phone. So I don't end up using it much. I actually end up using the facial recognition technology more often. And of course here, similar to the S8 Plus, you'll find this button. It's sort of like this force-sensitive button. You basically can press and hold to unlock the phone instead of having physical home buttons over here. The phone is powered by Qualcomm's 835 processor, and it has 6 gigs of RAM, which is more than the S8 Plus. We haven't had any issues with performance. As you can see here, apps open really quickly. And it's really easy to switch between apps as well. But some of the most important features of the Note 8 that make it different from the S8 Plus are in the camera. First off, let's take a look. So this right here is called live focus. Basically it lets you take a picture of someone and adds a blur around the subject. Now there's also this thing called dual capture over here, and basically what it is, it allows you to take 2 shots at the same time, one with live focus and one with a wide angle lens. So over here you guys can see this picture of my dog that I took. So when I did a live focus, you can see this is the image right here. It had that blur on the background. You can adjust the blur before you take the shot or after, which is pretty neat. So there's no blur now, and it's all software blur. And over here, this is the normal live picture with live focus picture with the blur at the back. And this is what it looks like with the wide angle shot. Again, live focus, and this is what you get. Again, no blur at all. And of course you can save this file and then it'll show up in your photo app, whether it's, for me, it's Google Photos. As you can see, it was just added. Speaking of the live focus mode, it's pretty accurate. Again, it's best on humans, but of course, things like hair can be a little tricky sometimes. Over here you can see the detail is pretty solid, but it's not always the case. For example, this photo right here, something happened here that's must have avoided it or missed it. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it's not accurate, I guess, to say the least. And it certainly looks weird. It's not a photo I would really use. And over here, for example, this is a little better. Haven't really seen any issues with this shot. Over here, you can see the edges of the hair are a little less refined. It's like almost something you would find from Microsoft Paint. Again, it's not always the case. Like over here, it's pretty solid, but here things just get a little weird and fuzzy. So it's a fun feature, definitely useful. Here's that feature again, where's the little mistake. So as you can see, we can definitely get good shots, but not always. But the standard camera app is pretty solid as well. It takes great shots. We haven't had any issues. Excellent low light shots as well. But there's this other feature now with the dual camera setup that you can use, similar to the iPhone, the 2x optical zoom. So when you press that, it zooms in and you can take a pretty solid shot. It's not as great as using this camera. There's a slight difference between the two, but it's still pretty great overall. This is actually a good comparison. This is the optical 2x shot. This is a regular shot. This is with dual capture when I was doing a live focus. This was the live focus one. It's pretty grainy because it's low light, but it still looks pretty good. And this is the same shot except taken at the same time except with the wider angle lens. And of course, there's the S Pen, which is the other key feature of the Note 8 that makes it distinct from any other phone. Now, the first thing you may have noticed is when you take it out when your phone is technically off, the display is off, you can actually go directly and start writing notes. Let's say, hello. So that's pretty neat. So, if you have a quick thought, you can jot it down without having to turn on the screen or go into any specific app. But the other neat thing is that you can pin this to your always-on display. So for example, if you're the one who takes a note and then often forgets what you wrote or what you wanted to be reminded of, basically we pinned it to the always-on display, so now you can see right here, it's very faint, but it basically is my note, and you can go back in to edit it or delete it from the always-on screen. Plenty more actually when you, for example, let's take it out again, immediately launches this floating bar. And one of the other new features is live message, and it's kind of gimmicky, but it lets you add a background, a picture or whatever. Let's just take this one that we just took, and you can write an animated message, and now you can share it. It saves it as a GIF file, so basically you can share it to any app or social media, messaging app, anything you want. It basically is stored in your images. So it's pretty neat, but again, it's not like a reason to buy the phone. You can access this bar again, and there's the notes, Smart Select, where you can take a picture of this certain part of the screen. Pen Up is the user community where people share and post their photos or pictures drawn by the S Pen. So one of the other features is you can translate with the S Pen as well. So for example, let's do from English to Spanish. You just have to hold the pen above the word you want to translate, and as you can see, it's translating mobile to móvil in Spanish. Let's do world, world mundo, Congress, Congreso. So it's a pretty nifty feature. Of course, a lot of people buy this pen and the Note 8 to draw, and it's pretty solid. It has a lot of pressure sensitivity, so it knows when you want to make a line thicker or thinner. But, there's not a lot of palm rejection technology available. So say, for example, if I'm holding as you can see, it's sort of making marks on the edges. So you might want to hold the Note 8 properly without trying to touch the edges, so you don't have any additional blemishes or marks when you're drawing. One of the other cool features that's added in the Note 8, and it's a feature that's actually coming to other Samsung devices later, or so Samsung said, is Apps Pair. So basically, this is the Edge panel. The Edge panel has different things that you can add, like your contacts, clipboard, apps, and of course you can add more. There's even things like news briefings from CNN. So the ones we've activated, one of the ones we like the most, apart from the clipboard, is this, where we have a quick shortcut to some apps that we use and we want to access fast. So normally you click on an app and it takes you right there. This is called Apps Pair, and it basically allows you to create an app pair. It's pretty easy to follow. Basically, it's going to open two apps at the same time in split screen view. So it's pretty nifty, and of course you can then change how much space you want each app to take. And this can be done with any apps that you have installed. Click on Create App Pair. Let's say Calculator and Calendar for some reason. Done. There you go. So now when you go to the home screen, go to the Edge panel, boom. And of course, then there's Bixby. Bixby lets you basically do several things. Create reminders is just one of them. There's Bixby Home right here where you can see just a accumulation of a bunch of random things tailored to you. And there's Bixby Vision, which lets you identify objects. This is all stuff that's been available with the S8. But of course, Bixby Voice is fully now available, just recently came to the S8. Open Calendar. Set a reminder to get the groceries when I get home. What's the weather? Post the last photo to my Instagram. Turn off the Wi-Fi. Turn on the Wi-Fi. So it's a solid phone overall, but at the end of the day, it comes down to price. It's a crazy $930, which is an insane amount of money to spend on any smartphone. Of course, the iPhone 8 is expected to cost $1,000 to $1,400. We're not sure yet. So is this phone worth $930? It's hard to say. The S8 Plus is a solid phone overall, and that's $850. This slightly improves on it with the S Pen dual camera feature and some software tweaks. But again, if you think the S Pen is something that you definitely really need, go for it. The dual camera feature is fun, but we think the S8 Plus's camera is also pretty solid, so you're not going to be dissatisfied with it if you choose to go for it as well. So that's the Galaxy Note 8. It's $930. It's available for pre-orders, and orders are shipping soon. Let us know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching.